I welcome you to my grammar class. The topic is relative clauses. First of all, you should know what is relative clauses. In my previous class, I have already discussed about what is noun clauses, what is the function of the noun clauses. Now we shall discuss about relative clauses. You know what is relative clauses? Some subordinate clauses are called relative clauses because they work like adjectives in the sentence. Means subordinate clauses are called relative clauses when they work like adjectives in the sentence. When they work like adjectives. Now you see the examples. I have look at the blackboard and watch carefully. I have already read the book which you gave me. First sentence. Sentence 1b. The book which is laying on the table belongs to my friend. 1c. The boy who always gives me books is my friend. These three sentences, 1a, 1b, 1c, are combination of two sentences. For example, I have already read the book which you gave me. In this sentence, I have already book main clause which you gave me adjective clause or relative clause. Book is the noun and I have already read the book which you gave me. Which you gave me, the relative clause describes the book. Now, sentence number 1b. The book which is laying on the table belongs to my friend. Main clause is the book belongs to my friend. Relative clause or adjective clause is which is laying on the table. So, which is laying on the table? The book. Which is laying on the table describes the book now. 1c. The boy who always gives me books is my friend. Here main clause is the boy is my friend. Who always gives me books is relative clause. Who always gives me books describes the boy noun. The boy who always gives me books. You see, in these three sentences, there are these three sentences. Each sentence is the combination of two sentences. First one is, if we describe, 1a is the combination of two sentences. I have already read the book. 1. Second, you gave me a book. Next, 1b. The book belongs to my friend. One sentence. And the book is laying on the table. Another sentence. If we divide the 1c, sentence 1c, we get the boy is my friend. The boy always gives me books. So, Each sentence are the combination of two sentences, and also there are 6 sentences. Now you see how the relative clause is formed. So you see, for example, of how we form the relative clauses. When there are two sentences, first we find out the identical noun phrase in two sentences. Second, replace one with appropriate relative pronoun. Third, put the relative pronoun at the beginning of RC. Fourth, place the RC after antecedent. So, now you see how the relative clause is formed. Students, now you see how we form relative clauses from the sentences. You see in the blackboard, there are two sentences in one. A, I have already read the book. B, you gave me the book. Now you see, now you find out the identical noun phrase in two sentences. Identical noun phrase in the two sentences. The book, the book. The book is the identical noun phrases, and you see now from this second sentence, the identical relative noun phrase, the book, replaced by suitable relative pronoun. The book is a thing, so here which and that is the relative pronoun. You use this relative pronoun in place of the book noun phrase. Then you put the relative pronoun at the beginning of the sentence. Here, which that. Which or that. Now you see the relative clause is formed. Now you see the relative clause is formed. First you find out the relative noun phrase. Second, you place the relative pronoun in place of one of the noun phrase. And then you put out the relative pronoun at the beginning of that sentence. Now the relative clause is formed. Then you put the relative clause at the after the antecedent. Antecedent, the book. Antecedent means purvavarti noun phrase. So you put the relative clause after the antecedent. Then you get the relative clause. I have already read the book which or that you gave me. Here you see, first you find out the identical noun phrase, then you put the relative pronoun which and that in place of the noun phrase, then you put the relative pronoun at the beginning of the sentence. Now the relative clause is formed, then you put the relative clause after the antecedent. So now we get the relative clause. I have already read the book. Which that you give me. In this way, you form the main clause and the relative clause in a sentence. Now you see the second sentences. A, the book belongs to my friend. The book is laying on the table. Here, identical noun is the book. Now you put the relative pronoun in place of the noun phrase book. Here, the book, in place of book, we can put which and that. Here now, the relative clause is formed. Which that is laying on the table. Which is laying on the table? That is laying on the table. Now, you put the relative clause after the antecedent in place of the the book. So now you get the sentence, the complex sentence. The book which or that is laying on the table belongs to my friend. Now you see, the book belongs to my friend LC, and which that is laying on the table SC or RC. In this way, we form the relative clauses from the sentences. Now you see another example how to form relative clause. In these two sentences, you find identical noun phrase the boy. Now we replace the boy from the second sentence. Here the relative pronoun who is used. So the boy is at the beginning of the sentence. So there is we place the who in place of the boy. Who always gives me books is the relative clause. Now you put the relative clause in place after the antecedent the boy. Now you get the clause, the complex sentence. The boy who always gives me books is my friend. In this complete sentence, the boy is my friend LC, and who always gives me books SC or RC. Now you know how the relative clause is formed. Then we see where in which sentence the relative pronoun is dropped. When the relative pronoun is dropped, we call it zero relatives. So, you know what is zero relatives. You see 3 sentences on the blackboard. I have already read the book which you gave me. I have already read the book that you gave me. I have already read the book you gave me. So, in these 3 sentences, we find I have already read the book which you gave me, which is the relative pronoun, and it creates a relative clause which you gave me. Second sentence, I have already read the book that you gave me. Here relative pronoun that is used, and that you gave me is the relative clause. Next, you see, I have already read the book you gave me. Here, there is no relative pronoun is used. So, here, in this sentence, you gave me has no relative pronoun. So, it is called zero relatives. The relative clause in which the relative pronoun is dropped is called zero relative. Here, the relative pronoun which and that are dropped. So, the relative clause in which the relative pronoun is dropped is called zero relative. There is a question. When the relative pronoun is dropped in a sentence, why? The answer is, you see, the relative pronoun is object of verb in the relative clause, it can be dropped like last sentences. Again you see, if the relative pronoun is object of verb in the relative clause, it can be dropped like last sentence. Here all the relative pronoun which and that are the object of a verb. Read. What do we read? The book which you gave me. So here the relative pronoun which and that are the object of a verb. Read. So here the relative pronoun which and that is dropped and like the last sentence. Now you see which relative pronoun is used in which sentence. You see relative pronoun who, whom, whose is used for persons, is used in place of person. That is used for person and things, which is used only things. Remember it. Relative pronoun who, whom, whose used for person. Relative pronoun that used for person and things. Relative pronoun which used for only things. You remember it. Students, now the grammar class about the relative clauses is over. Thank you all. Wait for the next class. In my later class, we shall discuss about the exercises of the relative clauses. Thank you all again.